Okay, starting a minute early just so I can get the sound working. Okay. Let's just make sure we've got good sound. Just make sure we've got good sound. Right, we're live again. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to part 3 of our A Song of Ice and Fire Theory Megamix tier list live stream. This is part 3, so for anyone joining that's new to the channel or new to the live stream, new to the tier list, welcome. Welcome to the community. Welcome to Jit Geek. And yeah, thanks for joining. It's great to have you with us, as always. Feel free to let me know any thoughts you've got in the chat. Feel free to take part in the chat polls that we've got going on. We've also got the community piece at the moment, the community head-to-head episode battle going on. That's getting some really good traction. Really pleased with that so far. Thanks for all the love and support as always. So I'll just bear with me for a minute just so I make sure all the tech's firing up properly and we're recording. Apologies, this has gone out late. This was scheduled for 6 p.m, but I have had some issues with OBS. So apologies about that. Absolutely buzzing for tonight. I'm buzzing for tomorrow. I'm buzzing for Monday. Now, unfortunately, I'm from the UK. So that means unless I wake the wife up at 2 o'clock and we go down and watch it at 2 o'clock, which I can't see happening, I've got to wait until Monday afternoon in order to watch it, which means I won't be doing my live streams until Monday afternoon or Monday evening UK time. And I'll try and do them around 7, 8 o'clock, but let me know if whichever you'd prefer, which is usually about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which isn't ideal for my American audience or any audience in the East. But that's probably the best time I can do it after watching the episodes. I want to get that content out for you straight away. So that's what we've got to look forward to. Until then, we've got part 3 of the tier list. So what are we doing today? Well, episode 1 was really all about what was that more about actually? I know episode 2, so let's backtrack. Episode 2 was about Azor Ahai. That was kind of the main one. I know episode 1, we did discuss a massive part about the Valonqar, Jon Snow, and Fagon. But yeah, last time there was a lot of deep diving into Azor Ahai, that theory, the prince that was promised. And yeah, had loads of fun. Fantastic. Really good live stream. Really pleased that you're all enjoying it. Had some really great traction. And welcome to all the new subscribers. If you're joining us tonight, it's great to have you with us. Look forward to, looking forward to this one. I think things are coming in okay. Right, we've got some good sound in the chat. Working fine. I think we'll jump straight in and, we'll get going. Right, so I have shuffled these about a bit just to kind of get a bit organised. So I think we'll start with a couple of interesting ones. I think we'll start with probably a few to do with Bloodraven and in the north. One of my subscribers asked me in the week, actually, what are your thoughts on Bloodraven? And I do believe Bloodraven is likely to be the reason for most of the magical shenanigans going on. Now, I could probably talk about Bloodraven though for hours, but I think the main thing to consider with Bloodraven is the main question I've always had is Bloodraven working independently from the Children of the Forest? Because if he is, that's interesting. But if he's not, then I mean, how is that? How is that working? How is he there independently? Surely he's some sort of minion. Like he's like the ultimate. He's like the ultimate green seer for the Children of the Forest. Surely he's the ultimate servant of the Children of the Forest, and because he's got the Blackwood ancestry as well as the Targaryen ancestry, maybe he is some form of a Song of Ice and Fire. Although he is a Blackfire, but I suppose red or black, a dragon is a dragon. And I guess the reason I'm going down this road is because it's always bothered me as to it, and it's not clear in the text. It's not clear in the text as to kind of, is he working with the Children of the Forest, for the Children of the Forest, or are the Children of the Forest now working for him because he's glued to this tree? That's a really interesting question. I hope George explains or gives us more kind of hints to in the Winds of Winter. Hit Rapper, great to have you with us in the chat. Thanks for commenting. And yes, I did check out the Walter theory. Now, for some reason, I can't seem to save it on the tier maker. But I tell you what, we will go through that. We will go through that next. So I'll pick up on the Bloodraven is the three-eyed raven. I'm going to go through the Mormont's raven is being warged and skin changed. They kind of tie in nicely. But then I think we'll dive into the Walter theory because it is pretty interesting. Now, back to Bloodraven. 100% he is the three-eyed raven, right? Brynden Rivers is the three-eyed raven, 100%. I think we kind of need to expand on this a little bit more, though, and consider why he's the three-eyed raven, and is he doing it off his own accord? Has he had the song? Has he had dragon dreams? Has he had the same dreams as Daenerys? Has he had the same dreams as Aegon? Now, remember in Hot D Season 1, we got that great scene with Viserys and young Rhaenyra talking about the Song of Ice and Fire, talking about this prophetic dream that Aegon's had, where he basically saw the White Walkers coming down on Westeros like a ton of bricks, and he feels like, or this dream, this prophesized vision spoke to him and said a Targaryen needs to be on the throne. Now, yes, Bloodraven or Brynden Rivers is not a Targaryen, but he is a Blackfire, and that means he has got Targaryen DNA. Now, I don't think that means he can't have dragon dreams. I absolutely think he probably has had some sort of dream. Now, did he go up to the north on his own accord? Was he the first apprentice or the next apprentice of the Children of the Forest? Was he the next Bloodraven? Because I'm pretty sure he says in the text, there have been seers before me, and there will be seers after. So, has he been brought up there? Has he made all of these decisions through has he been kind of manipulated by the Children of the Forest? I just find it such an interesting relationship he's got with the Weirwoods and with the Children of the Forest. Now, what does all this mean for me? It means, is he evil? I.e., is he working for the Children of the Forest? Which I think are really linked to both the ice side of A Song of Ice and Fire, and you could argue that they are kind of neutral as well, because they are in between the ice and fire elements. They're more the earth. They're more And that goes back to what the other name for them are, which is the children that sing the songs of the earth. Now, I think they're kind of, yes, I think they've created the White Walkers. I personally think they're the ones controlling them. But I also think they kind of also take a real like middle ground stance here. I just can't seem to quite, I can't quite articulate in my head how or why Bloodraven would have gone to the Children of the Forest on his own without being manipulated. Surely he just would have stayed at the wall, or he just would have become, maybe would have become a wildling. I don't know to the extent as to why he would choose off his own accord to go and seek out the Children of the Forest and become the Three-Eyed Raven, or become the next Three-Eyed Raven. So he must have been manipulated in my eyes, and I believe he's been manipulated to look for his replacement. Now let's just check the chat before I go on any further. Now that's a really good point, Hit Rapper, around Dark Sister. Two really good points in the chat there from Hit Rapper. One being around around Brendan Rivers bringing the Valyrian Steel Sword Dark Sister, which was used by, was it Visenya? Let me just double check who used Dark Sister. Yeah, Visenya. Now bear in mind, this is the sword that Daemon is using in House of the Dragon, and I do think they will explore the Valyrian Steel Swords. The backstory will probably get some snippets of information, just as a bit of a cap tip to that sword, because it's a really good point you raise, Hit Rapper. Where is Dark Sister? And the most probable answer is Bloodraven, or the Three-Eyed Raven. Brendan Rivers has brought it up to the wall, and it's sitting within that cave. Now, going one step further, now this is growing, and Brendan Rivers I could talk about for hours, like I said. That sword, I believe, will be the one that Hodor uses to hold the door. It also could be that it's something Hodor uses to hold the door, and then either passes it on to Bran or Meera in order for Meera to bring it to Winterfell. That's kind of how I see these events happening with the Three-Eyed Raven. Now, going back to my point about, is Three-Eyed Raven working independently? Is he working with the Children of the Forest? Another great comment by Hit Rapper in the chat. It could be that there are different factions of children. Some could be against humans, whereas others, those with Brynden, could be with them. And that's a really interesting point. Are the Children of the Forest, is that faction split? Is it like the fandom? Is it like the fandom who are split between whether they think this A Song of Ice and Fire series is going to be finished or not? And that's a conversation for another story, for another live stream. The truth is, we still don't know a lot about the Children of the Forest, and I think that's deliberate by George. We still don't know enough about their ecosystem. We haven't been given the chance to explore their world on the God's Eye as well. And I know Howland Reed is such a massive spoiler character. I'm guessing he will be introduced to offer more explanation and information about the Children of the Forest, and potentially about whether there are different factions with different agendas in Westeros still. Maybe these ones north of the wall are the ones that were sent there when the wall was built. You are the ones that created the White Walkers. You are the ones that have got to stay with them in the north, beyond the wall. Whereas these ones, that are near the God's Eye, those are still these neutral children of the forest. So that could be a really great explanation as to whether or not whether Bloodraven is working with the children of the forest or for the children of the forest. Because if that's the case, these ones beyond the wall have taken over the three-eyed raven and are manipulating him to find his replacement, I imagine. So yeah, 100% definitely true. Brynden Rivers is the three-eyed raven. I mean, that was pretty evident in the, I think it was the last Bran chapter that we saw in A Dance with Dragons. It basically confirmed that Brynden Rivers is the three-eyed raven. So maybe this list is a bit out of date. I think George has also gone on to say, I say recently, probably in the last few years, about, or I'm sure it's in one of the back of one of the books, that Brynden Rivers has been confirmed as the three-eyed raven. But there's a whole myriad of, I might have to do a live stream dedicated to Bloodraven and the children of the forest, because I think it's such a really interesting topic of conversation. Now, before we get into kind of our main ones tonight, which is going to be about the pink letter, and I think we'll also discuss the Walter theory, which is about the water theory and what was it? The water cycle theory at the wall. I think we'll just touch on this linked theory about Mormont's raven is being warged or skin changed. Now, casting my thoughts back to the show, it was always evident that Mormont's raven was in the right place at the right time, looking at some really key events. Some come to mind. I think I remember. Now, I've just reread A Dance with Dragons, so I know there was a raven on the window ledge when Varys declared all of that information to Kevin Lannister. I'm pretty sure there was a raven watching Jaime and Cersei. There might have even been a raven watching Jaime push Bran out of the window. There could be a raven pretty much at any key event, and what this enables them to do is to pass this information back to the Weirwood Network, to the Children of the Forest, to the Three-Eyed Raven, and now potentially to Bran Stark as well. Now, whether Bran Stark starts the Winds of Winter either halfway through his training, a complete continuation from A Dance with Dragons, or we see him later on into the book and he's kind of at this like 95% max power, I don't know. It's likely that because we've got the Battle of Ice, the Battle of Fire, the Battle of Steel, and the fourth battle, can I remember that name, it's just going to go straight on from A Dance with Dragons. But my point here is, these ravens are likely always in the right place at the right time, seeing these key events. I think we'll be using ravens to go beyond the Weirwood tree where Bloodraven is right now. I think we'll be using that Weirwood to go straight to the lands of Always Winter. I think we'll be exploring that within either Bran's dreams, Bran's visions, Bran's flashbacks, or we just see things through Bran, through these raven eyes. And I think the power of the raven, particularly with Bran now, and his ability to see into the past, we're obviously going to get that Hodor reveal as well with Hold the Door. But also, looking at things potentially in the future is going to be really powerful. Now, what is Mormont's raven being walked or skin changed? It's not a guarantee, right? It could just be that it's a raven, it's been taught words, and it's just repeating what it's hearing. However, I think the main piece of evidence that we've got going for us here is when it starts talking about Jon Snow, King Snow, Snow, and King. These references for me make it likely true that this raven is being warged or skin changed by someone. Now, whether that's Brynden Rivers, whether that's the Children of the Forest, whether that's Bran, we don't know. Could be. It could be Bran in the present warging ravens in the past and going to visit these key moments. I mean, look, time travel is a dangerous concept. And I'm really hoping George kind of steers. He doesn't go real timey-wimey with this sort of stuff. You're right, Hit Rapper. This whole Three-Eyed Raven, Children of the Forest web of theories and story and backstory and history, and even what's going to happen next. Such a massive rabbit hole. But yeah, I'm pretty positive that Mormont's Raven is being warged. Like I said, the main thing that for me is it's there at the key moments. What it says is always trying to give us hints, and it's always either saying it to Jorah or Jon Snow directly. So I think these little snippets are going to probably be re-explored when we find out Jon's lineage and Jon's parentage. Exactly as well, Hit Rapper. So what Hit Rapper said in the comments as well, there are too many cases of the Raven saying exactly what we need it to say when Jon has to kill the warg in the bugs. One attacking Mormont, the Raven screeches fire. So it's giving Jon assistance. It's giving Jon hints of his parentage, of his lineage, and of his future. Jon Snow, King Snow, I think he says, and King. So it's pretty likely. Now, it's not guaranteed. It hasn't been it's not particularly obvious. Well, I guess it is massively obvious, but I don't think it's guaranteed. So we're going to put that as likely true. Although it probably is true, but I can't say for certain. Now, I haven't got the... Let me see if I've got the little picture. Because I did download a picture of the Walter theory, which I want to go through today as well. So just bear with me. Where is it? No, that's the wrong one. I did make a little thing for this. Let me just see if it's in my other folder. There it is. Right, the Walter theory. So, this was a great theory video done by Michael Talks About Stuff. Fantastic YouTuber. Go and check out his channel. And I'm just going to get the video up because I did save it. Walter theory. He does talk about a cycle. Take a bloody adverts. He does talk about. He does talk about how the wall was built by Bran the Builder, and essentially, let's just see if we can get that shared. So essentially, it talks about this wall water cycle and how the wall was built and how it maintains its size and how it relates to the weirwood trees. So what he's suggesting here, if we just go back, is the wall weeps water. because it's a massive block of ice. Water goes underground. And what he's also suggesting, Michael, is that the wall is also made of weirwood trees. And I think one of the critical pieces of evidence for this is in one of the Bran chapters, I think is in either A Feast for Crows or A Dance with Dragons, when Bran is with Cold Hands and they're going through the wall. One of the key pieces of evidence is the fact that there's a weirwood tree at the root, or basically where they are, and it seems to be rooted within the wall. Now, Michael's theory talks about weirwood trees being absolutely all across, all along the wall, and that's the stem, no pun intended, the stem of this theory. So the wall, yes, it's a giant block of ice, but it's a giant block of ice built on top of weirwood trees. So that the wall weeps water. That obviously then trickles down. That water then goes underground. The weirwood trees then drink the water, and the trees are pumped water into the wall, and that then goes full circle. Now, it's an interesting theory. Just a correction there. Thanks for the comment there, Hit Rapper. Storm of Swords is when they go through the Night Fort, not A Feast for Crows. I can never remember when they go through the Night Fort, but yeah, Storm of Swords. That it feels like such a distant memory as to when I first read A Storm of Swords. But anyway, the concept though is basically touching on how the wall is able to maintain its size and how it's able to not shrink, how it's able to keep its size and and how it's able to basically shield these weirwood trees. Now, I don't particularly know whether there are weirwood trees all along the wall. Maybe there's one at each of the castles, and maybe that's where and I can't remember if Michael goes into this, but maybe that's where why the castles were built where they were, because each of the castles may be built on top or have a use of a weirwood tree. That's probably my take on it. I think it's a really good theory. It's a really likely theory, and Michael does a really great job of explaining a lot of the real intricate details for that theory. Now, if I have missed anything in the chat, Hit Rapper, please let me know. But I think from watching that video a couple of times now, it's yeah, I think that's kind of like the TLDR really of the video. But like I said, it's a fantastic video. I'll drop it into the chat. Right, so that relates to the Walter theory. So this Walter cycle, I think, is likely true. I think the only piece that Michael doesn't touch on is why the weirwoods are there. But I've got a feeling, if this is true, they are there because each of the castles was probably likely to have been manned by someone who worshipped the old gods. They would need a weirwood tree at their castle, and they made these castles along the wall at the points as to where there is a weirwood tree, which makes sense to me. And it's clearly evident that the wall hasn't kind of got any bigger or got any smaller, or notably got any bigger or smaller. So there needs to be some sort of mechanism for that to continue its cycle of kind of maintaining its size. So yes, Hit Rapper, I think the Walter theory, or the Walter cycle theory, great theory, and I think that's likely true. Right, I think we'll move on to this one. The White Walkers aren't really evil. Now, let's just take a step back because George Martin has said a lot about he said a lot about the Targaryens. He hasn't said a lot about the Children of the Forest, and he's barely made any effort to talk about the White Walkers. Now, that's probably because he's waiting for this book, The Winds of Winter. It's probably because they probably come with a lot of spoilers, like, and a lot of questions. Why are they there? What do they want? Have they got a civilization? Are they the bad guys? Are they intrinsically evil? What's their motivation? And that then branches out to the Children of the Forest as well. Are they being controlled by the Children of the Forest? What's the pact? Why are they in the north? Did they build the wall? What's the lands of always winter? Do they have this ice cavern there that they take all these babies that are sacrificed from Craster? Is that where they go? Who are the White Walkers? What's the difference between the White Walkers and the Whites? Loads of questions come with the appearance of these. Why have they returned? Why now? Is it Jon Snow? Is it Rhaegar? Is it dragons? And I've got a feeling it's probably likely to do with the pact. There's got to be something to do with the pact. We've been dropped the pact. The pact has been dropped into this story like a little nugget, a little explosive nugget of information. And I truly believe it's got something to do with the pact. Because if Azor Ahai, or the prince that was promised, or whoever, the last hero, if the last hero defeated the White Walkers previously, why have the White Walkers returned? Why have they got the ability to return? Why have they got the ability to still create a massive fuck-off army of whites? So the last hero clearly didn't defeat the White Walkers. There was clearly something done in order to have some sort of peace or a treaty or some sort of deal with men, with men. Now, whether this is directly with the Children of the Forest or directly with men, we don't know. A great theory, though, is that the White Walkers aren't really evil. And the reason I'm going down the pact thing is because, in my eyes, the White Walkers are being controlled by the Children of the Forest. And potentially they're being controlled by the Children of the Forest north of the Wall. I don't think they're being controlled by the Children of the Forest in the God's Eye. I don't. I think we've had it subtly hinted at to us in A Dance with Dragons, where Bran walks into Hodor and goes deep down into the caves of where they're staying with the Children of the Forest, and discovers those children that are almost in a warg-like state. They're kind of possessed, or they're walking into something that's kind of what it looks like. I reckon those are the ones, and I think those were the men Children of the Forest, or the male Children of the Forest. I reckon they're the ones that are controlling the White Walkers. Because if you think about it, the White Walkers, the relationship between the White Walkers and the Whites, especially in the show, and especially with the Night King, that's a lot like warging. That's pretty much the same thing. So who's warging them? And I've got a feeling it's the Children of the Forest beyond the wall. Now, what does the Children of the Forest and the Pact and all of this have to do with them not being really evil? Well, the reason I bring up the Pact is because I think the realms of men have broken the Pact. I think it could be to do with ranging beyond the wall. I think it could be to do with the wildlings. They've gone beyond the wall and they're not allowed to go beyond the wall. I think it's got to do with Craster, and the reason Craster hasn't been literally wiped out by the White Walkers is because he's got a mini pact. He's got this deal where he sacrifices his own male children to the White Walkers, and that's why they have kind of left him alone. Now, it could be that. It could also be the fact that we have promised the White Walkers a prince. Now, I don't want to get into that because I haven't joined all the dots yet as to how the pact and the prince that was promised potentially links to the White Walkers. But I've got a feeling it's something like we were told not to go beyond the wall. Craster's there, but he's sacrificing babies to keep the White Walker population going. But I think there's also another element to this where the pact was also about some sort of magical saviour, maybe some sort of Night King figure that was promised to the White Walkers, and maybe they're back to claim on that promise. Maybe they're back to claim the person that they were told was promised to them all of these years ago. I mean, I think it was either Preston Jacobs or it could have been In Deep Geek that did a great deep dive into the White Walkers, and basically one of the points was that Waymar Royce looks a lot like Jon Snow, and maybe they thought that Waymar Royce was Jon Snow, and maybe that's why they were kind of circling him and after Waymar Royce, because they thought of he was Jon. But the reason I'm saying this is the White Walkers aren't necessarily evil. They're basically retaliating because the pact was broken and because they're claiming what was owed to them. So the other part to this is George mentioned before that technically the White Walkers could be the heroes of the other side, and one of the key themes in A Song of Ice and Fire is no one is necessarily good or bad. They're kind of all these elements of grey. Everyone's a bit of grey, except more people are good than bad, more people are bad than good, but a lot of people we see the greyness in them. And it could be that the White Walkers, from the White Walkers' perspective, they are the good guys in this story, or they are neutral, or they are grey themselves, and all they're doing is claiming what is owed to them, which is either a prince that was promised, potentially. I just like the play on words there, or it was some form of detail that were missing from the pact. Or it's basically to get rid of all of these people from their side of the wall, and that's why the wall was built by them. I've got a feeling it probably was. Right, let's just check the chat with this one. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, Hit Rapper. I mean, there could be this this link between the others and the Children of the Forest. I'm unsure why the others are attacking Bran, though. Maybe because he's north of the wall, and he shouldn't be there. Maybe because they can see his abilities and they see him as a threat, or maybe for some other reason. So Hit Rapper also says in the comments, there's also a theory that magic is being corrupted. There's a theory that magic being corrupted is one of the main issues with the world. Valyria was fire magic being overdone, thus the doom. There could be that. I guess have the Children of the Forest then created the White Walkers to fend off against dragons? Because there's some great evidence in the books where the Targaryens or the Valyrians weren't the first dragon riders, and maybe the White Walkers were not only created to fend off men, but were designed to kill dragons as well. The whole ice and fire element. Hit Rapper also mentions maybe the others are the ice magic, the blood magic, thanks to the trees, possibly related to the water cycle. Could be the ice magic being corrupted. It could be. I'm just kind of, just thinking about that one, really. It's Yeah, I think Hit Rapper also mentions about the link between the others and the water cycle and the need for maybe constant energy. I think Michael said in one of the videos around the werewood trees need this kind of constant flow of energy or water or some sort of this flow to to keep up with the usefulness. Yeah, appreciate the inputs there, Hit Rapper. I truly believe the children of the forest are the ones that have made the White Walkers. Potentially, the children of the forest have lost either the ability to control them, or the children of the forest have split and do have a faction beyond the wall that is massively or heavily involved with ice magic. I do. Because they've got the ability to ward off the White Walkers. So, do I think the White Walkers are really evil? Aren't really evil? Well, in typical George Martin style in these books, we're led to believe that they are the enemy. They are the bad guys. They are the ice part of this ice and fire duel. Well, I guess it's a trio with the throne, but they are the ice threat in A Song of Ice and Fire. But I don't think we've heard enough from the Three-Eyed Raven. I don't think we've heard enough from the Children of the Forest yet, and I've got a feeling that this is likely true, that the White Walkers aren't necessarily evil. They are just another side to the same coin. So, where are we going next? Let's just have a bit of water. Hope you're all enjoying tonight's stream. If you're joining after the live stream's gone live, great to have you with us. Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. Drop a like on the video if you're enjoying the content. And yeah, stay tuned for more. Plenty of House of the Dragon live streams coming your way on Jit Geek. I can't actually wait for season 2. And my favourite part of that is going to be with Jace and Cregan Stark at the wall, where I know, I've just got this feeling we're going to hear a lot about the Pact of Ice and Fire, the Song of Ice and Fire. We're going to be hit with loads of details there. We might even get snippets of the White Walkers potentially. I did do a video, my top 3 theories for House of the Dragon Season 2 about 4 months ago, I think it was. Did really well on the channel, thanks for that. And that kind of discussed a lot of the links I think we're going to see with regards to the Pact of Ice and Fire and the White Walkers. Right, before we move on, let's just check the chat again. So we've got Hit Rapper saying, first men hung entrails from the werewoods, the clean bloody swords by the roots. There's an interesting amount of small clues that could be connected to blood magic actually being the main issue. Maybe fire and ice magic are both two sides of the same coin. Blood magic corrupting the world. Absolutely, that could be a good point. I guess the one challenge I've got is, I mean, in my eyes, blood magic is massively related to fire magic. Because of the whole fire and blood sort of kind of link there. But you're right, it could be that we've got blood fire magic and blood ice magic, and maybe how the Children of the Forest made the White Walkers on the show is all about creating that creating the White Walkers using blood ice magic, using dragon glass, piercing the heart with some sort of dragon glass dagger, and that potentially, maybe with some sort of magical spell, created the first White Walkers. Maybe they were Starks. It just, the rabbit hole just goes so deep. Yeah, Hit Rapper season 2 is going to be absolutely fucking hype, man. I am max hype to the fullest. We've got Jit Geek in the week tomorrow, episode 23. We're doing a massive deep dive on season 2, everything. I thought, fuck it, we're going to do all spoilers. We're going to look through all the content that we've been given by HBO so far. We're going to go through the family tree. Now, I'm going to try and do that before the live stream and try and get that prepared so we can go through it. Dragons and all, we're doing the lot. Tomorrow, Jit Geek in the week. Now, at the moment, if I've got no OBS issues, that's going live at 6 p.m. UK time. Yeah, I mean, blood magic is definitely intertwined by intertwined. We either within the religions, within R'hllor, within the old gods, which again relates back to the whole fire and ice part of this story. I'm gonna have to have another trounce through that water cycle theory and look at the other deeper connections with the others and the Children of the Forest and the Werewood Network. I think Hit Rapper, because there are a lot of off trails and a lot of real rabbit holes you can go down with this, which are really interesting. So I think we'll. I think with that said, I think I want to discuss the pink letter. Now, there's a lot of detail to go through with the pink letter, and there's a lot of candidates. So I think we're just going to quickly go over who the potential candidates are for the pink letter, because we've got multiple claims here, and I think there is one claim that people always overlook. So who have we got? Well, firstly, we've got Ramsay Bolton, and this is who we're led to believe has written the pink letter. This is who we are told has sent this letter to Jon. It covers a lot. I'm not gonna. Well, should I go through it? I think let's see if we can get. Let's see if we can kind of get a kind of TLDR on the pink letter. Now, I think we do get the pink letter referenced in the show, but it's not the pink letter. So, let's see if we can get a TLDR. Letter contents, right. Okay, so your false king is dead, bastard. He and all host was smashed in 7 days of battle. I have his magical sword. Tell his red whore. Your false king's friends are dead. Their heads upon the walls of Winterfell. Come see them, bastard. Your false king lied, and so did you. You told the world you burned the king beyond the wall. Instead, you sent him to Winterfell to steal my bride from me. I will have my bride back. If you want Mate Raider back, come and get him. I have him in a cage for all the North to see. Proof of your lies. The cage is cold, but I've made him a warm cloak from the skins of the 6 whores who came with him to Winterfell. I want my bride back. I want the false king's queen. I want his daughter and his red witch. I want this wildling princess. I want his little prince, the wildling babe. I want to see my reek. Send them to me, bastard. I will not trouble you or your black crows. Keep them from me, and I will cut out your bastard's heart and eat it. Ramsay Bolton, true lord of Winterfell. Now, that's a lot to unpack, and you can see why Ramsay's wrote this. It's obviously clearly signed by Ramsay, but there are some really other interesting candidates for the pink letter. I mean, let's just go through the clues for Ramsay. Now, of course, he did sign it, and it does include a lot of details around I'm just going to see if I can get any information up. Now, he does call out Reek. And I don't think there are many characters that know about Reek. And that's probably the blindingly obvious clue for me. What else? Let's have a look. I mean, a lot of websites and a lot of people talk about the handwriting. Jon isn't thrown off by the handwriting, and therefore he could probably link this to Ramsay. Now, whether he's seen another letter from Ramsay in the past, I can't honestly remember. But I think there are better candidates, right? Number one, or the next candidate here, is Stannis Baratheon. Because it could be that the pink letter has been sent from Stannis prior to him engaging with the Battle of Ice with Ramsay on for Winterfell. And maybe he is, I think the one of the biggest theories around is Stannis, the writer of the pink letter, is all about Stannis almost egging Jon on to leave Castle Black and make his way down to Winterfell. Now, I think the biggest challenge for that, though, is it's still a pretty long way in what is a very wintry climate up in the north. It's a pretty long way from Castle Black to Winterfell, and it's probably quicker to get a raven from Winterfell to Castle Black. You know, that's probably days, probably even less than that. It's probably going to take Jon weeks, if not months, to get from Castle Black to Winterfell because the weather is so bad. And him coming alone is not going to turn the tide in this battle. He would have to try and rally up either people in the north or bring some Night's Watch soldiers that would be breaking their vows just like Jon is, just to come and support Stannis in his effort to take back Winterfell. Now, it's also important to mention that the letter references Theon, and does it mention Jane Paul? I don't think it does. I don't think it references Jane Paul. Nonetheless, it references Theon, which... Oh, that's a point, though. Jane Paul is believed to be Arya Stark, so... But why would Stannis know that information? I suppose actually he's got Theon captured, so he would know that information. So he's trying to coax Jon, basically. But I think that argument falls down because Jon coming alone wouldn't help Stannis entirely, really. Jon coming with Night's Watch is very unlikely. Jon rallying people from the north to go and fight for Winterfell is it is possible. But the conditions up there are so treacherous at the moment. It's winter up there in the north. It's not going to be 5 minutes for Jon to go from Castle Black to Winterfell. So it's going to take him quite a long time to get there. Now, with that said, I don't think Stannis wrote the pink letter. So I'm going to put that as false. I'm going to put Ramsay Snow wrote the pink letter as likely true. But I think there are more appropriate candidates to go through. And one of those is Mance Rayder. Because, I mean, just reading the letter back, there's a lot of references to Mance Rayder. Now, let's just count them. King Beyond the Wall, that's 1. Mance Rayder, back, come and get him, that's 2. Talks about him being in a cage and having a warm cloak. We could probably argue that's 3. It talks about black crows, and it's really only wildlings that call them crows. So there's 3, possibly 4 references to Mance Rayder there. But again, the motivation for Mance Rayder writing this letter is the thing that really sets it apart from the other theories. Because what we've got is someone that has been sent to Winterfell by Melisandre, and he is likely one of the only ones that knows. Well, Melisandre and Mance Rayder are likely 2 people that, you know, really only likely know that Mance Rayder is still alive. Melisandre also knows that Jane Paul is being wed to Ramsay Bolton, and Melisandre offers to send Mance Rayder to rescue her. So that's the motive for Mance going to Winterfell. But why would Mance want to cause uproar within the within Jon's faction? Now, I'm just trying to get some solid evidence for this. I think maybe one of the key reasons is the letter was meant as an update to Melisandre about the job, and it was intended to, yes, be read by Jon, but to also be maybe shared with Melisandre to give insight into how things are going for the task at hand to rescue Jane Paul, or to rescue Arya Stark, which is actually Jane Paul. Now, looking at the chat, Hit Rapper again mentions the main thing to focus on is who knew about Mance being alive. From what I remember, it's only Mance, Mel, Jon, and the Spearwives. Exactly my point, Hit Rapper. There aren't many people that know that Mance is still alive, so this letter being sent by Mance that's probably one of the smoking guns for this. Hit Rapper also mentions, it just kind of came to me now, but what if the pink letter is written by someone being warged? Maybe the three-eyed raven seems to be no one could fulfill everything from the letter. The closest would be Mance, but it seems strange and out of character to Mance as we know him. But if Jon being attacked is what moves the plot further, maybe it could be him. It's quite weak, but until we have more of an idea from Mance's goal, this seems more logical or possible. Absolutely on the money there, Hit Rapper. Fucking love that theory. Love that theory. So it could be Stannis, it could be Mance, it could be Ramsay, but they could be being warged by Bran or by the Three-Eyed Crow. And it could be that these thoughts are being given to these people, or this person that's writing the pink letter, in order to move Jon away from Castle Black for some reason. Now, let's just have a look. So we've got the evidence. We've got the evidence from Mance. There's a lot of evidence in the letter that relates to Mance. We've got the motivation for sending a status update almost back to Melisandre about how the task to rescue Arya Stark's going. What we don't know is that why would Mance want Jon Snow away from the castle? So I'm just trying to figure out why Mance would want Jon away from the castle. Because we've got motive for Stannis trying to bring Jon down and maybe trying to rally people. Ramsay's obviously coercing Jon into coming down, maybe to have a one-on-one fight, maybe to, claw him out of Castle Black and just kind of egg him on and piss him off, really, and just kind of stir the pot. Yeah, I don't think there's any clear evidence really as to why Mance would want Jon away from Castle Black, because it's clear that the letter is designed to get Jon away from Castle Black. Let me just see if I can find it somewhere. Right, there are things linking him to the Horn of Winter, but I just don't think that. I don't buy that. Although the Horn of Winter, I suppose, is with Sam in Old Town. What else? I mean, let's just play this through then. So Jon successfully leaves, and he tries to get to Winterfell. What good would that do for Mance? Well, Mance is... Yes, he's looking for Arya Stark. And... I mean, maybe he's looking to... Why did Mance write the big letter? Yeah, I guess I've kind of talked myself out of Mance being motivated to get Jon away from Castle Black. I guess that it has got a lot of I think it's got more going for it than it hasn't, right? I think none of these three, in my eyes, though, really tick all of the boxes. Now, one perspective I've always been conscious that not many people have explored are the Pink Letter was written by people in Castle Black. Now, yes, again, it doesn't tick all of the boxes, but it's clear that this is a ploy to get Jon Snow, to kill Jon Snow, to give them an excuse to murder Jon Snow because of all of the shit he's doing with the Iron Bank, because he's bringing the wildlings beyond the wall into Castle Black. It's another excuse to stab him and kill him and change the leadership in the Night's Watch. And one of the, I can't remember who did the video, but one of the key reasons for this, I'll talk about this, is the ink was smudged, or the wax seal was smudged, and I think some of the ink wasn't dry, mate. I'm pretty sure we are given those pieces of evidence in the text. But the motive's clear for me, that people in the Night's Watch clearly want Jon dead. It's another excuse. And it's the perfect letter to cause Jon to want to leave the Watch and want to break his vows. And it's therefore it's almost like a plausible excuse for them to kill Jon for breaking his oaths. Because I guess the only reason, I mean, the other candidate, and I don't think it's on this list here, is Melisandre being the author of the Pink Letter. And the reason I say that is because she knows a lot of these details. She knows, let's get she knows about the magical sword. She knows about she is the Red Whore. She's in Winterfell, so she talks about the heads upon the wall. She talks about burning the king beyond the wall, so she knows about that. She knows about sending Mance to Winterfell. I believe she knows about... Well, yeah, she knows about Jane Paul. Oh, she knows about Arya Stark being married. She could potentially have seen Theon with Stannis. There are some references to the Red Witch in this passage as well. So yeah, I mean, I think Melisandre is another good shout here. Now, I think the only thing that doesn't go for her is why, or what's not explicit within the letter or within the text, is why would Melisandre want to provoke Jon to leave the wall? Now, the only thing I can think of is Melisandre needs to fulfill the prophecy of the prince that was promised, or the prophecy of Azor Ahai. So let's just go back to that prophecy of Azor Ahai. Because I'm pretty sure it mentions about being reborn. Our champion will be reborn to wake dragons from stone and reforge the great sword Lightbringer. So maybe Melisandre is forcing Jon to, or coercing Jon to leave, therefore providing motive for the Night's Watch to kill him in order for her to use Shireen's king's blood to bring him back in order to fulfill that part of the prophecy. And the reason I say this is, going down this thread, is prior to this, we get a lot of evidence in the text around Melisandre saying, when I look in the fires, all I see is snow. When I look for Azor Ahai, I see snow, or Jon Snow, or something like that, she says. So we get all these hints right before Jon's death around Azor Ahai and about him dying. But I think that could relate to Melisandre needing Jon to die, to be reborn, in order to fulfill the prophecy. And I don't think many people talk about that, about him needing to be reborn, because the prophecy also states, a prophecy foretells that he will be reborn as the prince that was promised. And the prince that was promised, his is the Song of Ice and Fire. Another little callback to House of the Dragon Season 1 there. Great to have you, so many of you watching in the chat. Great to have you with us on Saturday afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. Let's just check the chat before we move on, because I think we've talked the Pink Letter through quite well. I'm gutted, and I might have to add on somewhere here about Melisandre being the one that's written the Pink Letter. I reckon she's probably got the most evidence for yeah, I reckon she's got a good... There's a good case to be had as to whether Melisandre is the author. Now, I know Quinn GM did a fantastic video, and his... Let me just find it. His thoughts were about Wyman Manderley. Now, I don't know enough about that theory to talk about that, so I'm going to leave that and maybe check out Quinn the GM's video as to why he thinks that, because it's a fantastic theory. But let's check the chat then. So, So Hit Rapper and Artist Dabity says there are not a lot of people fulfilling the role of causing chaos at Castle Black. Mance would not want that. Neither would Stannis. Again, ticks. They don't tick those boxes then as to causing uproar within Castle Black and bringing Jon away. I mean, maybe they don't. I guess maybe they could think that Jon is likely not to leave and would fulfill his oath to the Night's Watch. Hit Rapper also says Ramsay would be a candidate, but he can't be the one unless he caught all of them and tortured the info out of Mance himself. It's true, and that's another reason why Ramsay could still be the reason why this letter has been written by him. This could be sent after the Battle of Ice has been fought. Stannis has been defeated. Mance has been captured. And he's basically been torturing the life out of them and getting all of this information out of them. Because that ticks all the boxes then. Or a lot of them. A lot of the boxes. What else have we got? I thought about the mutineers. It would be the perfect excuse, but of course, how would they know of Reek and Mance? Again, Hit Rapper, it's not the perfect theory, much like the rest of them for the pink letter. It could be that what we've been told by George Martin in the text is true, but everything seems to be something else these days in bloody game, in the books. She is the Red Whore, yeah, hard to argue with that one. And yeah, all I see is snow. But I remember from the text, it's not a lowercase Snow. It's a capital S in the middle of a sentence, which means that she is relating to Jon Snow. Because there are some sentences that start with snow. But there are also snow in the middle of the sentence. And if you were talking about snow as in, like the weather condition snow, that would be a lowercase s within the text. But it's specifically told within the middle of the text, a capital S for Snow, which is Jon Snow or Ramsay Snow. But, I don't think that fits. And I think, hasn't Ramsay been, legalised at this point by his dad? Anyway, I think, for me, the most likely candidates are going to be... we'll circumvent Mance Rayder in this list for Melisandre as well. So it's going to be... Ramsay Snow's got a great shout, because it could be done... The whole thing after the Battle of Ice has been fought and won by Ramsay. That makes it likely that Ramsay wrote the letter. It was signed by Ramsay. But also Mance and or Melisandre have written this letter as well. I think quite likely. I don't think Stannis has written the letter. I think there's enough to say that there isn't enough evidence to say that. So I guess we'll move Stannis actually to likely false. So that was the big one I wanted to talk about. Yeah, lots of breadcrumbs, though, with the print letter. It's such a fantastic theory, such a massive theory. And I can't believe they kind of brushed over it in the show. It pissed me off, that did, because it's such a good theory. But I'm so glad that there are... there is a lot of kind of evidence for multiple characters. It's such a great, massive theory. Have we got any more... What's her name's here to relate to the pink letter? No. Okay. Next one we're going to talk about is Summerhall was to birth dragons. Now, I think that's likely true, but I kind of want to talk about Summerhall in another light here. And yes, Aegon V, used Summerhall to birth dragons. He collected everyone as a kind of showing. He was kind of, Billy Big Bollocks at the time. I am going to do this event. I am going to use Summerhall as a time where I birth new dragons. a lot of you know, kind of A Song of Ice and Fire tubers have done some great videos on this. The one that stands out is Alt Shift X. He did a fantastic. It's about half an hour long. Check it out after this. And it talks about, though, a lot about Rhaegar, a lot about maybe this was the catastrophe of Summerhall was done or was caused by the Maesters. And the reason I bring that up is because, yes, likely Summerhall was to birth dragons, but consider the fact that the Grand Maester conspiracy is likely happening. Maesters would have been there either singly or in abundance to facilitate Summerhall as this event to birth dragons. They would have obviously have been there to try and stop this from happening, to fuck up the lineage of dragons within the Targaryens, and potentially try and wipe out the Targaryens once and for all. So Eggs bought them all there, bought basically everyone within the Targaryen faction. I don't think there's many that were outside of the Targaryen faction at the time. He's landed them all there at Summerhall. He's putting on this big show to birth all of these new dragons, or he's got these dragon eggs, and it goes wrong. Summerhall absolutely is just chaotic. It just erupts in fire, and what Egg attempted to do was start a blaze and birth these dragons from the fire, but obviously that goes wrong. Summerhall then pretty much ignites, and all of these Targaryens, and including Duncan the Tall, which is going to be from HBO's new show, probably coming out next year, I imagine, in the off season of House of the Dragon, the Hedge Knight. I think that's been the confirmed name of that show. But yeah, Duncan the Tall died there. Aegon the Fifth died there. Who didn't die there, though, was Rhaegar's mother, because Rhaegar's mother, and I need to get her name, I think it's Rhaenys. Rhaegar Targaryen mother. Rhaella. So Rhaella gave birth to Rhaegar on that very day. On that very day. And the reason that's important is because, one, the Maesters might not have known about that and might have believed that all of the Targaryens were wiped out. Now, clearly, obviously, they know that now because there are Targaryens in the world. But maybe at the time, they thought that all of the Targaryens were going to be blown up. All of these dragons would have been, or these dragon eggs would have been destroyed as well. So, yes, it's likely true that Summerhall was designed or was an event to birth dragons, but it goes far beyond that. The Maesters were involved. I think the Maesters were the ones to, to fuck all this up for the Targaryens. And the other part to this is, you can even play this theory on words here. Summerhall was to birth dragons, or a dragon, i.e. Rhaegar Targaryen, because if we look at the prince that was promised prophecy, I need to get these favorited. Where is it now? No website has got it clearly spoken. It's not got it clearly written down. Let's have a look on here. I mean, I touched on this in part 2 of the theory video, but in effect it talks about salt and smoke, and it could be the salt from the tears, people crying, they're dying, other people are dying, the smoke from the fire, waking dragons from. Oh, so when the Red Star bleeds, I mean that's Azor Ahai. So let's get. It's not clear. No website has got it clear. Sorry about this. I should have had this. There's loads of things that talk about. Right, sorry, just bear with me. Here we go. So, Salt and Smoke being part of the prince that was promised coming. He doesn't mention Azor Ahai. Born amidst salt and smoke beneath a bleeding star. I'm pretty sure. Bleeding Star, Summerhall. I'm pretty sure Alt Shift X talks about a bleeding star either being in the sky or one of the heraldry, one of the people that died at Summerhall has the heraldry of a star. Let me just double check. When the red star bleeds. Anyway, the point is, Summerhall was to birth a dragon potentially, i.e., Rhaegar Targaryen, or I think it was likely true that it was designed to birth dragons, but obviously this didn't go to plan. Loads of Targaryens were killed, and I think this was the Maesters at work through the Grand Maester conspiracy to not only destroy magic, but to destroy dragons and the power of dragons and fire and blood magic in the world. Right, how we doing? Couple more, and then I think we'll call it a night. It's been a fantastic stream so far. I need to figure out where I can get a clear description of the text of the prince that was promised stuff, and a clear description of the Azor Ahai prophecy. Anyway, let's finish off with a few minor ones here. Let's just drop to the comments again. So we've got Hit Rapper. George does love intentionally leaving breadcrumbs everywhere, and that's what I love about his work. That's the one I was on about, Hit Rapper. It's Dunk. Dunk, his crest is a fallen star. Now I'm going to have to get that up now. So, Duncan the Tall, family crest. Is that the one? Yes, he's got the star with the tree. That's the one. That's what I'm talking about. That's the bleeding star within the prophecy. That's the prophecy. But that's the Azor Ahai prophecy. Maybe I've got all of the text just interchangeably, and I made it clear my thoughts in the last time that I don't think Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised, I don't think they are the same people. But all of these resources online really kind of interchange them both, and I've got this feeling that they're not. I believe Daenerys is Azor Ahai. The evidence is without doubt. The only other person that could be Azor Ahai is Jon, but I think Jon is the prince that was promised. I mean, it could be Rhaegar. Rhaegar's got some great. I'll have to check back on part 2 as to where. Yeah, I can't find the resource about the prince that was promised stuff. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to right. Euron is a fraud. Now, this is such a good. I don't know a lot about this theory, but it's such a good theory. to talk about, because Euron at the moment, he's got a lot going for him, that he isn't a fraud. You know, he's been out on his ship, he's crossed the world, he's got all of this great Valyrian steel armor, he's got all of these. He's probably once had a dragon egg, and he's probably used that to kill his brother through a faceless man or a faceless assassin. He's got the chat. He's a crazy motherfucker. He's likely to have been Bloodraven's ex-pupil, or potentially ex-pupil. But what makes him a potential fraud is he does like to talk a lot. And talkers are obviously, they talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. Now, so far, what has he actually done? I think he's been engaging with near Old Town, and he's looking to kind of conquer or destroy Old Town. He's looking to use the Horn of Winter to bring down the wall. He's also looking to is he looking to marry the queen, or am I confusing myself with the show there? He's also looking to marry Daenerys. That's the one. That's why he sends Victarion to the east. But this whole talk about krakens and summoning them from the deep, he's looking to create this massive blood sacrifice. Now, I wish I'd be going through this after reading The Forsaken and reading some of the preview chapters of The Winds of Winter. I've got that in my to-do list to do. I've downloaded some copies from the internet, and it's something that I want to cover. But I think the proof, I don't think we know enough yet. Euron hasn't done enough for me at the moment to signal that he is a fraud. So I think this is likely false. It'd be cool as fuck if we saw a kraken use it, through all the blood sacrifice in the water during the Winds of Winter. That would be cool as hell. I think it's likely false, though. I think he is some mad dude, and I think he is going to potentially either get someone or do it himself, blow the Horn of Winter, because we've got Sam moving now from where he is to he's just moved to Old Town at the end of the dance a dance, or was it Feast for Crows? Actually, it was in a Feast for Crows where we had Sam move to the Citadel. So he's there, Euron's there, and I think in the Winds of Winter their paths are going to cross. I think we'll end on a few quick ones. Sam being the main character. Now, George has often regarded himself as he is most like Sam. And considering he's kind of blatantly come out and said that, I think what we mean by this theory is, though, is Sam the one that is writing A Song of Ice and Fire? Will we get that scene in the books with like we had at the end of season 8, and I fucking hate to quote season 8, but will we get that thing at the end of the story where we've got the book of A Song of Ice and Fire being written? Maybe this is all from the perspective of Sam, but I think I can only call it likely true because George Martin has often referred to himself as Sam within the story. But Sam doesn't know as much as players like Tyrion. Tyrion's literally been to every part of this map so far. He's been involved with every single part of this story. He's been involved with the Wall and Jon Snow. He's been involved with Castle Black. He's been involved with down on the Iron Throne and the political element. He's been involved with the Blackfire Rebellion or the Fagon story. He's been involved with his transition across the East, and now he's been involved, or he's likely to be involved, in the Winds of Winter with Daenerys' faction and in the East, but then coming back to Westeros. So it could be that A Song of Ice and Fire is told through the eyes of Tyrion, but it could be that Sam is the one to write the book. And I think that's what that theory means. That Sam is the main character. Sam is like the in-world author of A Song of Ice and Fire, but I think he's likely to be taking it from the majority of the story from Tyrion's eyes. So what else have we got? Let's end on a good one. I'm going to leave a lot of the... Let's end on a good one. What have we got? We got all these this algebra here. I'm going to have to kind of do some research into what they are. I'm going to have to do some research into Lemongate because I don't know much. Varys is a merman. I think right, we're going to end on these two. So, Varys is a merman is false because I think Varys is a Blackfire. Now, when we talked on stream 1 about Fagon is a Blackfire, I think that's likely true. There is a hell of a lot of evidence, though, to suggest that Fagon is not Fagon, he's Aegon, and he's actually a Targaryen. But I think there's more evidence to suggest that he is a Blackfire. Before we get into this Varys one, I just want to check the chat. We've got Hit Rapper saying, going back to our Summerhall Azor Ahai prophecy, talking about during the long night, also hear of several Azor Ahais all over the world. Yes, we had Edric Shadow Chaser, we had The Last Hero, we've got Azor Ahai, which actually comes from, it doesn't come from Westeros, Azor Ahai, it actually comes from, shit, where's Melisandre from? Melisandre. Asshai, City of Asshai, Asshai of the Shadow. That's where Azor Ahai comes from. There are a bunch of other, a bunch of other kind of names for this hero that has defeated the darkness from the world. But you never know. That could just be like a religious saviour, and that just could be a load of bollocks, really. Azor Ahai. It could just be something that R'hllor have made up. Could be. But anyway, back to Varys. So, the point I raised was Fagon is likely a Blackfire. A lot of evidence suggesting it is. We've also got the House of the Undying Dreams from Daenerys. But I think I'm gonna end on Varys is likely a Targaryen. Now, the evidence for this being true. He's bald, so he could be disguising his silver blonde hair. And he constantly shaves it. Also, he now is greatly involved with the Fagon plot and Illyrio, and to get Fagon onto the throne. Now, why would Varys be involved with Illyrio and feel so strongly about getting Fagon onto the throne? Well, one evidence for that is the fact that he is a Blackfire as well. Is he some long-lost brother of Sarah Blackfire, who is likely Illyrio's old love interest? And that's why Varys and Illyrio have got such a good bond, because Illyrio is Varys's brother-in-law. The other piece of evidence is the fact that he has been strategically placed on councils within Westeros in order to create division within either the Targaryen reign or Robert's reign, or the current establishment. So he's been strategically placed there in order to kickstart the, or either to kind of put a spanner in the works within the Westerosi Iron Throne Council, and really fuck it up. So Fagon swoops in and becomes this fantastic king that everyone likes and is loved by the people. What else have we got going for us that he's a Blackfire? It could be that he is a descendant of the Targaryens through his Blackfire lineage, and that is the reason why he had his pillar and stones chopped off and threw into the fire, because he's got some form of king's blood. And maybe that kind of ritual was his captor doing some sort of blood or fire magic, using his manhood as some sort of king's blood sacrifice. Again, we don't know enough about that. Now, what do we have going against us? Well, there isn't actually a lot of evidence in the text. I don't think there's much at all, if any, to suggest that Varys isn't a Blackfire. I mean, what is the argument that he's not a Blackfire? He's just a random guy from the streets of Pentos, and he just so happened to have created a friendship with Illyrio. That could be true, and he could just be a pauper, and he could have just had his manhood castrated by some evil people in Pentos. But I think there's a lot of boxes that are ticked to suggest that Varys is really deep-rooted within the Fagon cause, the Fagon plot, and the Fagon is a Blackfire theory, and is a real key player within that theory going into the Winds of Winter. Now, any final comments for you in the chat to be had on tonight's stream? Because I think, with that said, I think we're going to wrap this one up and call it a night. But I'll give you a couple of minutes just to kind of comment any more theories that you want me to go over, any of the shorter ones here. I'm happy to go over a couple of others if you want to put them in the chat. Any others that you want also doing as well. We've had Hit the Rapper request the water theory, which we talked about tonight. So any others that you want covering in other part 4 and beyond, there's probably going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 more. This is going to be quite a big series that we're going to do on all of the A Song of Ice and Fire theories across the channel. It's been a great stream. But yeah, happy to take any further comments, any further insights in the chat before we wrap it up. Yeah, I think it's been a great stream. We've talked a lot about the North. We've talked a lot about Bloodraven. We've talked a lot about the Children of the Forest. We've then gone back in time and talked a bit about Summerhall. I think that's a fantastic theory. We've also touched on a requested theory in the water cycle, with the whole theory about weirwood trees being at the heart of the wall and why that's important. We've also gone massive deep dive into the Pink Letter. I thought that was a really good chat. And yeah, apologies we can't go on any longer. Hit Rapper, great to have you with us in the chat. Everyone else who's joined us in the chat, it's been great to have you with us. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the support. We'll try and get I'll get this part 4 also scheduled on the channel today or tomorrow for next weekend, so we can get this. We can try and kind of start bringing this tier list to a close. I think we're doing really well though, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you on the podcast tomorrow, where we do a massive deep dive into House of the Dragon Season 2. Catch you later on the next one. See you all tomorrow, hopefully. Catch you on the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for joining.